Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So be it our body or be it our cars or bikes, we like it when it's light in weight. It's truly said that our weight, kind of impacts our overall performance. Do you agree or not? So is with our vehicles, right? So here we have our expert panel who will be discussing about how they are kind of trimming those automotive fats, in terms of innovation, new technology. They'll also run through us with the challenges that they're facing and much more you can expect with this panel. So let's get started. Mr. Google, my first question is to you. There have been massive advancements in, materials in terms of like carbon fiber composites and aluminum alloys entering the market. What are the key materials you think are, emerging in the material space in terms of plastics, which are helping in lightweighting?
Very happy morning to all. Especially, Nisha, thanks for selecting such a topic post-Diwali, lightweighting. Very tough topic, especially after such a heavy festival season. Yeah, coming back to our thing, yeah, in lightweighting, especially in automotive, plastic is used very widely. Besides all the metals like, first it was a mild steel which was moved to the aluminum, then the different alloys, and now the plastics. Now within the plastic, definitely a lot of raw material people are here to help us for the plastic raw materials. But in that, low density polymers are now being used, and especially in that low density fillers are used. So earlier filler used to increase the density of the ready mix polymer, but now they are taken care to use low density fillers. So they are helping us to reduce the weight of even plastic and keep the density somewhere around 0.9. So really that helps us. Such breakthroughs are given by these raw material manufacturers. Plus there are some material additives are also coming to the industry where we can use in plastic raw material and still be a lightweighting in that. Plus these composite materials where we use carbon fibers or the glass to get the same strength but with the reduced wall thickness. So that is also helping us to reduce the weight of the plastics. Yeah.
Absolutely right, sir. My next question is to Mr. Shiv. Sir, could you walk us through with the new technologies or product lines that Indian suppliers need, should explore in terms of improving lightweighting?
She made my job tougher by using the word Indian suppliers. So friends, I don't know, should I speak true or should I speak a nice story? Most of my friends here, we have been doing this type of lightweighting panels. Yeah, my size is not in sync with the session, actually. Yeah. Honestly, I'm taking a breath to really, where should I start from? Sach bolun ki jhoot bolun? Sir, bahut kadwa hai. Lightweighting in India, of course, we know theoretically, let me quickly brush up, though Bill, you made my job very easy by touching most of the concepts on the theoretical aspect of materials, whether it is foaming process, which you rightly said, it's a glass reinforcement process. Carbon fibers. Carbon fibers is a good concept. In Europe, we have successfully implemented it for customers like BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Products like roofs, rear trunk floors, B-pillars, note my words, B-pillars, door structures have been successfully implemented in mass production in Europe.
Waiting in that. Plus these composite materials where we use carbon fibers or the glass to get the same strength but with the reduced wall thickness. So that is also helping us to reduce the weight of the plastics. Yeah.
Absolutely right, sir. My next question is to Mr. Shiv. Sir, could you walk us through with the new technologies or product lines that Indian suppliers need, should explore in terms of improving lightweighting?
She made my job tougher by using the word Indian suppliers. So friends, I don't know, should I speak true or should I speak a nice story? Most of my friends here, we have been doing this type of light weighting panels. Yeah, my size is not in sync with the session, actually. Yeah. Honestly, I'm taking a breath to really, where should I start from? Sach bolun ki jhoot bolun? Sir, बहुत कड़वा है. Light weighting in India, of course, we know theoretically, let me quickly brush up, though Bill, you made my job very easy by touching most of the concepts on the theoretical aspect of materials, whether it is foaming process, which you rightly said, it's a glass reinforcement process. Carbon fibers. Carbon fibers is a good concept. In Europe, we have successfully implemented it for customers like BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Products like roofs, rear trunk floors, B-pillars, note my words, B-pillars, door structures have been successfully implemented in mass.
Waiting in that. Plus these composite materials where we use carbon fibers or the glass to get the same strength but with the reduced wall thickness. So that is also helping us to reduce the weight of the plastics. Yeah.
Absolutely right, sir. My next question is to Mr. Shiv. Sir, could you walk us through with the new technologies or product lines that Indian suppliers should explore in terms of improving lightweighting?
She made my job tougher by using the word Indian suppliers. So friends, I don't know, should I speak true or should I speak a nice story? Most of my friends here, we have been doing this type of light weighting panels. Yeah, my size is not in sync with the session, actually. Yeah. Honestly, I'm taking a breath to really, where should I start from? Sach bolun ki jhoot bolun? Sir, बहुत कड़वा है. Light weighting in India, of course, we know theoretically, let me quickly brush up, though Bill, you made my job very easy by touching most of the concepts on the theoretical aspect of materials, whether it is foaming process, which you rightly said, it's a glass reinforcement process. Carbon fibers. Carbon fibers is a good concept. In Europe, we have successfully implemented it for customers like BMW and Mercedes-Benz. Products like roofs, rear trunk floors, B-pillars, note my words, B-pillars, door structures have been successfully implemented in mass production in Europe. But that's what not Nisha asked me. Indian suppliers, Indian context. It's very costly. It's not making sense as of now. It's a story of chicken and egg. The critical mass of the carbon fibers reinforced polymers is still little far off in India when we look at the Indian pretext. As you said, glass fibers, yes. Glass fibers are making a good solution in between. Products like front-end carriers, tailgate inners, front energy carriers, beams, these are successfully implemented in India for Indian customers. Bill talked about foaming, nanopolymers. See, these are all theories. We can keep on discussing about it. I'll give you a few live examples of what at least I was lucky enough in last 3 decades to get into implementation for plastics. And I'll give you with some numbers and figures. Plastic tailgate, 20% weight saving as compared to metal. Almost 3 to 9 kgs per car, it gives a weight saving. And the next statement I am saying, my friends, some of them may not like, and I love it, 10% less than aluminium. There's been a lot of evaluations going on by OEMs in terms of lightweighting of plastic inner glass filled versus aluminium, but finally it is 10% less. Plastic fuel tanks, 25 to 30% less than metal, successfully implemented in India. Front side fenders, LH and RH, 2 to 5 kg per car set, weight saving as compared to metal. B pillars, 3 to 5 kg. Okay, B pillars not yet done in India. 3 to 5 kg weight saving. Rear trunk floors, 3 kg weight saving. Front crash beams, 1 to 2 kgs weight saving. Front end carriers, 2 kg weight saving. So these are some of the applications from Indian perspective in my era of my experience, and there must be a very long list. All my other friends and colleagues here in the industry must have implemented a lot of other things, but these are the first few items and few processes which immediately come to my mind, Nisha.
Absolutely right, sir, on that and all the insights that you shared. So there's one follow-up question to whatever you said. Do you think these innovations extend beyond traditional vehicles and other modes of transport, such as, trucks or public transits?
Yes, LCVs, MCVs and bus. These three segments away from the PVs are also focusing a bit on lightweighting, primarily because of the EV evolution in this segment, not because of any other reasons. So parts like front panels, the big front panels above the bumper, the front bumper itself, the lower structural parts, and few other parts are also being explored, but primarily in thermosets, not in thermoplastic. It is either in SMC or RTM that these two processes are primarily being used for a medium-sized volumes for this industry also, apart from passenger vehicles.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question is for Mr. Vilas Bhaviskar. Sir, lightweighting is not that easy. There are, of course, if there are opportunities, there will be challenges. So what sort of challenges arises when, you are incorporating these lightweighting materials into the vehicle production, and how do you address them?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for inviting us. And my throat is not very clear, so I apologize for the unclarity.
Okay, so you're quite audible. I guess audience, a response from your end. I hope he's audible.
Yeah. Even though I'm from OEM, so I will not agree that I'm only from the OEM, because all of us sitting in this conference room is owning the vehicle, some other vehicle, either one car, two-wheeler, anything. So whatever innovations are happening or whatever good work we all are doing, it's for everyone. So we should always think that whatever things are happening, it's contributing success or benefits for individual. So with this approach, I think we all can grow. So in this lightweighting or lightweight technologies, whatever implementation we are talking about. So from OEM side, as a buyer from OEM, my first question or always I will challenge, or I'm challenging to supplier who's, whether it's a tier 1 or whether it's a raw material supplier, my first question will always be whether I'm getting the cost saving. So that's the main challenge. She will be agree with me. So first challenge or first question everybody is asking to these people, that what cost saving I'm getting. So first
are not calculated. So we have to really do a very deep diving of a business case for any lightweighting project driven by the OEM. Second point is that the rationalization of the product design for Indian environment, Indian expectations of safety, sorry to say, quote unquote, Indian expectations, requirements for validation, fit and finish, gap and flush. We need to look at rationalizing our global product designs. We definitely have a product design well proven for European market, and if we bring that design to India, the product cost, the design cost would not be sustainable for India. So we have to relook at the product design. Very deep diving of CA analysis has to be done again and again and again. Unless you are optimizing the specs, going back to R&D again and again challenging the core specs they are demanding from you versus the actual deliverables on the road, and optimize your product design to a different level, adaptable for Indian or low-cost countries as compared to the global approved design you already have. And it's a very tough job, because you already have a proven design, OEM wants that design, OEM wants that performance, but then when you go to phase 2 of costing, it doesn't make a sense. Then we also have to see that the design, engineering, manufacturing cost has to be very highly localized. Again, it's a very tough challenge. The manufacturing processes, the equipments required, the raw material required does not have a critical mass. The types of raw materials we discussed in the first half, those materials, critical mass is not coming. So you have to really go back, talk to the local raw material suppliers, try to maximize the raw material localization, If not localization, at least the supply chain has to be localized to a very larger extent to avoid the import contents. And then the challenge is styling, because as the glass fiber content goes up, the design freedom goes down. So this again, we have to draw a very good line between the balance between the design flexibility and the freedom of the mechanical performances. Because obviously we need to deliver the mechanical performances in plastics, we need to increase the glass content, and this will reduce our styling capabilities. So these are the few points which at least I have personally kept in mind, ran through the case studies, and been successfully able to implement a lot of good plastic first times in the country.
That was very...
Just to add what Shiv
Sure.
is saying. So whenever we are, our main issue is if you want to change raw material in between after the SOP of the product. So it's a bit challenging. So we can improve on that while we are discussing at the start of the designing of the product. As a raw material supplier or as a tier 1, we can involve a design team of OE company or OEMs to consider all the innovations or all the solutions at front, which will avoid duplication of validation cost, because OEMs are spending a lot of money, or we are spending a lot of money for validation and all the test, which is numerous. So once the launch is done, if anyone comes with the solution, which will not, that solution as an individual may be good, but we cannot implement it because of the business viability. So it's very important to consider at the initial stage.
Perfect. And Vilas, I think that's what you complemented to my first point.
Yes.
Whenever you start a lightweighting project, the integration between the supplier top management and OEM CFT top management, correct, whether it is purchasing, engineering, plant engineering, manufacturing process, serviceability, after sales, these needs to be done a very deep dive at an early stage. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was quite in depth. Now I'm coming to Mr. R.T. Google again.
निशा दिल के दुख थे जो यहाँ सुना दिए. Nothing.
So Google sir, we would like to know your take on the challenges when it comes to lightweighting parts, and how do you address them?
Lightweighting part manufacturing, you want to say?
Yeah, you can. Basically in creating them, yeah, of course.
Creating. Yeah, as just now Vilas and Shiv both are saying, lightweighting needs to be designed at a much earlier stage. Later on, once the tools are made, especially in the plastic industry, it's not that easy to change the wall thicknesses, because essentially lightweighting is a reduction in the wall thickness. If traditionally, if we see the front bumper or rear bumper of a car was having a 3.5 mm or 3.8 mm thick, and now with the latest technology in the tooling, raw material or the molding machines especially, we can reduce it up to 2 mm. But I cannot use the same tool of having a 3.8 wall thickness bumper tool to make the 2 mm wall. And in the old generation machines, they may not be possible. So really it has to be decided on the first stage. But when it comes to the tier 1 or the suppliers who are making these parts, definitely they are facing a lot of challenges. Because once the wall thicknesses are reduced, a lot of surface defects may start popping up. Maybe sing mark, flow marks and those things. So again, we have to go back to OEMs and those things, what type of graining or what type of post-molding treatment they will allow us. But as Vilas is saying, finally all of us, we are putting a pressure on the OEMs for the cost. I cannot afford such a high cost vehicle. So we as a customer are putting the pressure on the OEMs. So everyone sitting in this hall is a customer and putting the pressure on the OEMs. OEM puts the pressure on the tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. And like that,
it's a give
we
and
put
take.
pressure on ourselves.
It's a give and take.
It's a give and take. So really, it has to be thought on the first time. And if not, later on, what we can do with the maybe existing tools, then we take the help of the raw material suppliers, how they can help us. Because finally, we have to deliver. And as we have seen in the Bill's presentation also, those latest technology machines are available. Am I equipped enough to use that latest technology machines or that latest technology raw materials? Here I would like to request both these gentlemen over here for the raw material supplier or the machine today the need of our, especially Indian country, industry, I will say, the training of such latest technology to be used at the last level, tier 3 or tier 4 suppliers. Because just putting the latest technology machine from Milacron or say Coist or raw material, I may not be able to produce what end result is required by the OEMs. But if they let us work in a collaborative manner that all three of us, raw material, machine maker, tool maker, and the end user, if we join hand together, definitely we can make a lot of good things. So these challenges will require good training and the skilled manpower, which is really all of us, we are struggling, especially in our country. That if we don't have a proper skilled manpower, then use of such technology or low wall thickness and weight reduction will be little challenging. Because here the absolute process controls are required. Very small change in the process of the raw material deviations will have a direct impact on the product. And today when OEMs are making such a high volumes, and especially a conveyor production, every part is going to count, every minute downtime is going to count. So all this putting the little bit pressure in a positive way, I will say, on the entire ecosystem. So if that is taken care, then definitely lightweighting is much possible. And we have to do it because that's the need of an hour. And not only from the cost angle, but from the sustainability of the material. If earlier I was using 4 kg to produce a one part, and now if I can reduce to 2 kg, definitely I am helping a lot for the entire ecosystem, my own Mother Earth, that I am not doing a lot of material taking away from that. So it is not just a cost, but it is a sustainability now is putting thing. So yes, there are challenges, but they can be met.
Right, so you rightly pointed out that skill is very crucial at this point for the manufacturing industry. So my next question again is to you. It's about, there's a perception that with lightweighting, with the reduced weight, the cost will go down. So are these parts that expensive?
Difficult to answer because both gentlemen are next to me talking same thing, and all of us, we as a customer will expect कि अगर बम्पर पहले 4 किलो का था अभी 2 किलो तो मेरा 2 किलो का पैसा कम करो. Yes, very small extent it is possible to reduce the cost, but to manufacture low wall thickness part, considering the different challenges, different investments, different high-end materials, cost saving may not be possible always. Always I am saying, sometimes it is possible. But yes, the challenges can be met by higher productivity or better surface treatment or avoiding the post-treatment on those parts. We can still try to keep the cost in control. But that will require a lot of challenge. It's not that easy. Because if Milacron wants to give me the mono sandwich machine, where I can reduce virgin metal to 70% and use regrind metal 70%. But that regrind material also I cannot produce in-house. The earlier days I used to just grind and use it. No, now that regrinding also has the latest technology. I need to get that material. No doubt I will save a cost. If virgin metal is 100 rupees, reground is 70, I can reduce the cost. Plus I can meet the government regulations, circular economy, everything. So it has to be seen in every possible angle. Machinery, raw material, my usage, my toolings, my own skill set. So wherever possible, cost reduction, yes, up to some extent. But it cannot be general case the material cost has gone down, so my end product cost will go down. But finally, as an end user, OEMs will get a benefit to the end customer in the fuel, consumption, kitna deti hai, or maybe in those areas. So indirect benefits, but for the customer, maybe a direct benefit also.
Right.
I'll just add to this point that normally I request and discuss with my fellow OEMs, don't just talk on a cost, a part cost. Talk on the net enterprise value. Talk on the net purchase value. And there it is whether about a serviceability, it is about the performance of the car, it is about the productivity, it is about the rejection. Take as a full NPV, net enterprise value. And when you look at a net enterprise value, as you rightly said, Mr. Google, that okay, part cost may be higher by 5%. But if you make a full net enterprise value in terms of serviceability, in terms of the performance benefits which OEMs get. So some values like benefit to the OEM for the weight reduction, which has taken price increase by 2%, would still give a benefit of net enterprise value. So this is how a business case has to be designed between the component suppliers and the OEMs on a net enterprise value, and it definitely gives a benefit. So after a small experience of 1.5 decades in plastics and lightweighting, introducing very challenging parts first time in India, I confidently say that if you are able to align with the OEM at a net enterprise value, it definitely gives a benefit. Lightweighting in plastics definitely gives a win-win for both of us.
True. Again, another follow-up question to you, Mr. Google, is that are there any potential downsides to over-prioritizing lightweighting? I mean, is it too much? And does it, have an impact on its durability, or does it also impact on, the cost of repair increases? So,
see, durability and safety, definitely nowhere it is compromised. It can't be. Because finally the OEMs has to follow all the rules, regulations, statutory requirements. So nowhere that is compromised. Vehicle maintenance or those costs, I don't think there will be any impact. And as she was also saying, by reducing the weight on those things, the better technology vehicles they will be. So definitely downtime or failures are going to get reduced. So there should not be any end user will have any penalty of using lightweight material. Rather, he is benefiting. No way it is. So one should not be thinking that way, if the parts I am using too many parts of the lightweighting. We are not at all compromising on the safety of the vehicle or the comfort of the end customer who's using those vehicles. Nowhere they are compromised. Rather, they are getting more benefits. So we should not think in that way.
Right. So my next question is for Mr. Bhaviskar. Since there's a lot been said about production cost, your take on, how the production cost and how these lightweighting materials and designs are proving expensive for the manufacturers. Could you just delve into it?
Yeah, apparently these technologies definitely are costlier than the normal traditional material which we are regularly using. And mostly these special materials are used in high-end vehicles as of today. But in mass volume cars like Nexon, what we are manufacturing, so we are still using traditional materials. But if you want to introduce these lightweight materials in these mass volume vehicles, we first definitely need to see that how it will be a cost viable to the OEMs. The ways and means are there, definitely. We need to see whether we can localize that material in India, then whether we can bring some proper supply chain so that we will reduce some cost over that. So there are some ways and means, definitely. It's not that it's impossible. It's possible to implement but with better cost.
Right. So coming to the rules and regulations, as you pointed out, do you see any sort of a loophole, or do you see that any specific or standards must be implemented when it comes to lightweighting?
Yeah, see, when we are designing the vehicles, we have to follow all the regulations, because when we are manufacturing vehicles in India, from the same molds or same setup, assembly setup, we are exporting also, and we are catering to Indian market also. So for both the market, exports as well as Indian market situations, we need to follow the regulations, safety norms, even if it's a crash worthiness, as well as all the interior safety like head impact test and all those tests. We need to ensure that all those tests are being validated. So we can put upfront to these raw material suppliers that, okay, these are my norms, and you just confirm whether all these norms will be met with this use of this material. And if it is confirming, see, we cannot, or raw material supplier cannot tell upfront. He has to do some simulations, he has to do some test, maybe on proto. Then at certain level, he will gain the confidence. And on that confidence or on that initial study, he comes to us and he says, okay, yes, we can meet this particular material for these requirements. Then we also okay to move ahead on those projects. And that is how we collaborate, and we we accept or we move ahead on such implementations.
Right, sir.
Yes, it's a feasible, and we have the cases that we change the material. Like in some interiors, we have implemented some projects by changing the lightweight materials.
Point taken, sir.
In fact, some of us definitely know it. The performance tests like side pendulum impacts, the performance like a rear crash impacts, they are delivering better as compared to a sheet metal in the engineering plastics. So we have done a couple of tests, and from a serviceability point of view, from a dent point of view, a small dent to an X size of a side pendulum impact can immediately create a dent. But when you're using a glass-filled fiber, it bounces back to some extent. So a lot of these tests are even better in lightweighting materials.
So sometimes these material changes are driven by the concerns, like quality concerns or safety concerns. So that point of time, we forget or we forego the cost issue or cost element. So we wanted a solution that whatever problem we are facing in the field, whatever issue we are facing, so we wanted immediate solution. Then at that point of time, definitely yes, we come forward and we adjust or we agree on the cost element also.
Thank you, Vilas. You made my day today.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Shiv, my next question is to you. Since he's very excited and he's actively, giving some or the other insights and making this very interactive. So how do you look at, the lightweighting techniques influencing the overall performance of ICE and EV vehicles?
Luckily, lightweighting is one topic which is beneficial for both ICE and EV. So we are in a safe spot with plastics, focusing on lightweighting. People keep on talking about EV, yes, definitely. But something like a fuel efficiency, which is directly beneficial, whether it is an ICE or a performance on the acceleration and speed brakings. So these are very basics, irrespective of ICE or EVs. Obviously, now coming to the EVs, range is the talk of the town. And we are spending, I have a separate team which only focuses on EV business. And we are one of the first pioneers in India to localize the entire battery pack in plastics. So the top and bottom cell holders have been fully localized by us, first time in the country for BMW. So what I'm trying to say, range, definitely, and it improves the battery efficiency. Some numbers which I could catch up is 10% weight reduction, average increases the range by 10 to 14%. 10 kg weight reduction approximately gives 0.8 kilometers increase in the range. So these are some numbers which definitely are very motivating for even the hardcore EVs. And of course, the battery size and weight is optimized, charging time, and the battery cost is also getting optimized because of the lighter vehicle and overall bringing the impact on the EV car vehicles. Because the cost of the battery is one of the largest and the biggest element in an EV vehicle as compared to the other aspects. So this is one side of regular academics, all of us know. Second most important is the CO2 emission regulations. So this CO2 regulations, lighter the car is, less fuel and obviously less CO2 emission per kilometer. The number says that approximately 10 kg weight saving gives 1 gram CO2 per kilometer. This has become my care in the organization. How many grams per kilometer can I save for an OEM? So the meetings I do with my OEM friends is putting on the table how many grams can we do it. But the catch is every 10 kg just gives you 1 gram. So the number and maths are very challenging. So unless you don't achieve a critical mass of 30-35 kg with integrated set of suppliers, you are not achieving a sizable CO2. And on the other side, the world convergence between 93 to 100 grams CO2 by a time zone of 25 to 30 is primarily for US, Canada and Europe. But we are still little lagging behind in terms of our targets as a country and our initiatives. China is 60 to 65% reduction and US is 26 to 28% reduction by 2025. China is by 2030, double the percentage of 60 to 65. But US is a less number, but 5 years before. And India, we are targeting 30 to 35% by 2030 versus a 2005 year base. So there's a lot more to do on the OEM side, and this is also one of the key driving factors which I of lately see on the weight reduction coming from the CO2 regulations. And now I've seen this Paris impact is influencing India and the OEMs more and more.
Right, sir. So we have come to the last question of this session, and that I'll pose it to Mr. R.T. Google. And so we would like to know, what is the potential future of lightweighting parts in India?
Potential future. That is governed by everyone of here. Because everybody wants to enjoy the beautiful climate and a very healthy lifestyle. I am also part of it. So we are only putting a pressure on Vilas. Give me the best vehicle, zero emission, maximum mileage, zero maintenance, zero downtime. And to help Mr. Vilas, Shiv, myself, or Sudha, Divakar and Bill and all of us, we are here. They are here to give the raw material technological machines. We are there to produce parts. And finally, all of us, we are going to use those cars. So it is really the need of an hour to sustain, to have a sustainability. This is one of the tool, I will say. Lightweighting is not the only solution. That is one of the solutions. And yes, sky is the limit for that. Every day, new technology, new things are going to come up. We are going to use that finally for our betterment only. So it is not that OEM or the tier 1 or the tier 2 or the machine manufacturer want to sell their product, so they are coming out with the technology. I will say it's the demand, today's demand. So these people are continuously doing R&D, different trials and helping us to meet our thing. So it is unending, huge requirement, demand, and maybe today's technology will be outdated tomorrow.
Yes, obviously.
So Mr. Vilas is going to be under trouble that what I do 3 months back and at the time of SOP and now what is going to happen in the January. The challenge. But yes, demand is tremendous. And not only in plastics or the automobile, in practically every aspect of our life. If we see even domestic appliances or the domestic packaging material, anywhere, the things are becoming lighter and cost reduction. Because the raw material consumption we have to reduce. Sustainability, reuse. So in my opinion, there is nothing like a limitation on that.
So future is bright.
Future is very bright.
Boss, sach bolu ki jhoot bolu. Boss, we are all saying, don't find me critics, don't find me sarcasm on lightweighting in India. But boss, all of us have to get together. It's a humble request to all the elite leadership team sitting here. In every bits and corner of the country with the OEMs, somebody is talking on carbon fiber. Somebody is talking on the advanced alloys. But I am talking to X supplier, he is talking to Y supplier, and everybody is not coming forward, obviously because he doesn't have a critical mass. So there has to be some sort of forums where we start integrating together. The solutions are available, materials are available, but not at Indian cost. And there it is a problem of demand and supply. The bits and pieces initiatives in pockets and corners being done by component suppliers like us and OEMs somehow needs to come together on one portal, one app. Anybody who needs a carbon fiber, it should just hit that app, and all suppliers should know that, oh, he needs 2 ton, he needs 5 ton, he needs 6 ton. Moment we have a critical mass of carbon fiber requirement, we had led these discussions in Europe. Suppliers are ready to give a good price, but unluckily the amount of quantity they're asking is still a little far off from us, whether it is for aluminium alloys, whether it is for carbon fibers. I think it's time for all of us to get together, dear friends, and look forward as one team on working on lightweighting. It's a win-win for us, and he rightly said, future for our next generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for those insights. Now I open the panel to the audience. So any questions? Any questions?
Thank you all for a very engaging and a spirited discussion. I just wanted to understand the special materials that we're talking about, carbon fiber, We also spoke about some other materials. Is the price high because there's not enough availability, or is the price high because it's positioned like that, or is it just a resource supply chain issue? What is it that is causing these materials to be higher price? I think that was I wanted to understand that. When we talk about glass fibers, carbon fibers, we talk about all of these things, and we say that these are only used by premium car manufacturers and still not cost competitive for India. What is the reason they are not cost competitive? Is it because the production of these fibers is not at a global scale, so the demand is more than supply, causing the price going up? Or is it the reverse?
No, as per my knowledge, it's a special composites being invented or innovated by the raw material suppliers. Okay, and it involves lot of design or their own study, their own validations, and all the things at cost. Okay, so that is how this material is become a special, and that special material is not used by everyone, right? So it's a special material. So always special material will have limitations in terms of manufacturing feasibility, as well as MOQ will be the issue. And ingredients used in those materials will carry all the special requirements, including quantity and cost. So that is how it is becoming critical. Unless and until it is used in mass scale and widely used, it cost will be always higher.
But that's the chicken and egg, right? Unless and until it's used in mass scale, and to use in mass scale, the price is not there. So how are we going to break that?
Cartel of consumption, that's what I was saying. We need to have cartel of consumption.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Bill, in this,
So awareness.
He's the right person to answer this, because he's the raw material manufacturer. We are the users. But what I understand, one element, if the glass fiber is there, even we in our company, we are importing a lot of glass fiber things. And the prices has gone up because of the supply demand. And at least such raw materials or such ingredients are not being manufactured locally. By and large, we depend on the outside. And they dictate us. And I think Diwakar may agree with my view, but it happens. But finally, if the demand goes up or no, but if Diwakar helps us commercially, we can help him.
But I think as we have seen scale go up, as necessity is a mother of invention, as they say, we've seen how prices of solar panels have dropped. And every drop of solar panel has aided to the better consumption and more adoption. And then it's become a vicious cycle, or rather a good cycle. The higher the consumption, the prices keep dropping, and now they're almost 84% drop. Today, the cost of a solar panel power plant is cheaper than installing a coal power plant. So I think something similar will happen. The future is bright for recycled materials, and I think eventually lightweighting will become not a trendsetter, but more like a mainstay of the automobile industry. So I think that's I'm personally very bullish on that.
Yes, more the awareness increases, it will definitely, usage also will increase, definitely.
Right. Thank you so much, audience, for being so receptive and patient. Thank you so much.
Can we have one question from the last row, please?
Yes, please. Who's
Because I have all my life lived there only.
I'm sorry.
So let's have one question from the last rows to see that we are giving a right involvement to the teams.
Thank you.
Sir, you are supporting the last row, though you're not in the last row. I actually meant the last row. No, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So as a designer, material designer, and somebody who is an enthusiast for cars, a lot of times I hear reviewers and a lot of customers saying that this plastic feels so-called cheap, or it feels tacky, or the finish feels cheap. So how do you reconcile that? So how do you reconcile that feeling, what we get from the consumer, with the lightweighting and the stylistic perspective of lightweighting? Thanks.
So it depends on the segment, which segment car you are manufacturing, okay? So the car which we are manufacturing, like Jeep Compass, So our designers or our aesthetic team who is working on those will definitely first think that whether whatever interior parts we are using, whatever material we are using, will not give a odor or bad smell. That first requirement or first thinking we are carrying. And definitely yes, depending on the segment, like suppose I don't want to name or any but B segment or some small car would not think all such things. So it depends on the segment, and manufacturer knows all these things, and it is driven by cost as well as the segment also.
Any more questions? Okay. Gentlemen, okay, this is the last question that we are taking because we have already exceeded the time limit and there's another presentation after that. So yes, we can pass on the mic there.
Very good afternoon to all. So my question is that as you mentioned that if the glass fiber is increases and the styling quality will reduces. So if I see in a future, like if you want to make it more lighter to any automobile product, so you are more using carbon fiber and like glass fiber and all. So how do you manage, like as a styling person, I have like certain era to enhance my innovation. So if something stop on that point, so what is your point and what you give suggestion to them? Thank you.
I said carbon fiber, not glass fiber anyhow. So we have to draw a balance between the strength required versus the flexibility of the curves. In styling, I'm going precisely to the curves. So the constraint of the carbon fibers constrains your styling freedom or designing freedom. So you have to draw a very thin balance, and that is how, if you recollect, I said very strong design analysis has to be done when you're doing this lightweighting. So you have to keep on playing between the content of the carbon fiber, which means the CAE for the strength, versus what type of a styling you can do. Any day you can do a better styling in plastics than metal. But suddenly I have seen when I go to my styling studios of OEMs in Milan, suddenly they would like to bring a flat Indica to a JLR curve, you know, because I'm giving a plastics. And then on the other side, the guy from the CAE says, I want a reliability which is like better than a metal, even better than sheet metal. So that's where I say you have to draw the balanced line between the styling curves and the strength. Definitely, boss, you can achieve much better with us in plastics. I would say a big round of applause for all of us. From 6% to 18% in last 5 decades. A very big applause for all of us. 220 kgs in a car we have achieved. And we all as a team would go forward to make it to at least 25% in next 1 decade. Thank you.
Thank you so much, panelists and audience, of course, to making, in making it so interactive and engaging. Thank you so much.